The Amateur Television Net is on every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Catch up with the latest ATV news, see the latest television projects, shack layouts and much more. A good time to ask questions about amateur television. We use local 2-meter liaison frequency FM simplex 147.400 MHz, and Berwick repeater 439.375 MHz. Every Tuesday starting 8 p.m.
Get the footing right. Good evening, I'm Peter, VK3RTV in Montana South. And tomorrow's going to be moderately warm, but the repeater will be at 22 degrees Celsius. And that's what it's going to be at day and night, winter, summer, whatever, which is really good. So it was a great event to get the new unit installed with a very, very competent installer in Richard's son, Jacob. Yeah, I was very impressed. He was quick, but very thorough and very accurate. I was watching. And also was the plumber, who was really a super plumber. He did some of the connections on the aircon, and also they were really well done as well, but quite swiftly. So there was a skill level there, and I guess basically practice as well makes perfect in that sort of situation. But sometimes people are unable to do certain tasks no matter how much practice they get. Anyway, it was a great time last week. This week I've been looking at microprocessors. We've actually got 5 different microcontrollers in RTV, would you believe? Stephen VK3RTV, who's coming on shortly, introduced the 5th, which is the AT Tiny, and I've got a couple of Tinies to program because I've finished installing everything mechanically. You can see here I've got the back of the GT Media box. Can't claim warranty anymore because I sawed it in half. It was a plastic box, and just using the PCB mounted on the rest of the box, and using the back panel, for mechanical stability there. We've got the front leg there already, and there's a little pickaxe in there that does the decoding of the IR stream and stuff like that. But we've also got now the AT Tiny that does the switching and recognition of the data stream that represents incoming signal. So anyway, I went online and I've got a few Arduinos sitting back there, and I thought, well, I'll make up a shield, and I sort of googled how to do it, and a sequence of operations, but I'm damned if I could get it going. And I think maybe Stephen also might have had a go at it, but I'm not sure. I'm sure it probably does work, but there's something missing in the steps, or they're not well put. So I looked in my junk box, and I found an AVR ISP programmer which I used to program one of the Atmel chips in the repeater. It's the one that actually talks to the SR systems encoder and Minicod and turns it on. So I do program that with this AVR serial program, and it's got provision for an AT Tiny there. But I program the ATs, the ATEMs, with Bascom AVR, I think it is. It takes in BASIC and compiles that. So I haven't got the right compiler to do the Tiny. I've been trying various options, and Stephen, who's coming on next, might be able to put some light on that one. It's actually the JCAR one, which I select is I think it might be silicon chip probably, but it's a little box there with some an IC in it and some other things. But then you've got a motherboard with multiple different options for pinouts. But there's certainly an option there. I can see it. It's written there. Put JP3 and JP2 in there and install 4 and 8-pin devices. So yeah, it's set up for that, but I haven't been able to make that one work as well. But perhaps some advice from Stephen, because what I've got from Stephen is a C program, and because the AVR, the Bascom is basically the other one. Never mind. And won't compile. But anyway, maybe Stephen can assist there. I guess I'm rambling a bit. BASIC was the other one, of course, which is a very easy program. So I program in BASIC, okay. I program in assembler, program in Pickaxe BASIC, but not the dread C. I've never been able to take to that. But Stephen did a wonderful job in notating the program he sent me, because I can actually follow it okay. Just I wouldn't be able to reproduce all the brackets and whatever's that need to be there. But in terms of the actual programming philosophy. It's fairly easy to follow, particularly when it's notated. If it's not notated, then maybe it isn't so easy to follow. That's for sure. The other thing I've been thinking about is how can I make RTV a bit easier for people to transmit to. And I've got VK3CH in mind in particular, who's striving away there, and we've changed the frequency on him, and the PA's not tuned for that, so he's lost some power, and they're still working on it. So I thought, what about putting a 2 meg option for DVB-T? And I thought, yeah, well, okay, I've got a spare Hydes receiver there. I was actually given one by the person who does all the design. I forget his name offhand, but he did visit here a couple of years ago, and he gave me a Hydes receiver, which was very, very nice. So there is one there, and we could set it up for 2 meg. Probably put it on 1254, because probably most of the guys on 1245 could get into 1254 anyway. Certainly Dennis 3YLH could, and also Richard 3VRS could, and Stephen also could. So it makes sense I could do that, and then also if it's up for the West. So that's a work in progress. I'm having a bit of a difficulty programming the receiver. It doesn't want to seem to take the program where you feed in the little memory chip and it reads it. It's not doing it. So I'm not sure. I might have to have some conversation with Taiwan about that. But mechanically it's all set up, and there's the box that interfaces with the controller. I would just have to make some changes to the software, not really changes, but inclusions to activate another channel. We've got 2 spare now, so we put it on RTV2, and as I said, the guys that are close enough on in the east will be able to get into the thing anyway. And it might be a way of getting Mick back on air, and perhaps some other people that are not so well situated. And then there's the other guys that might like to have a go at it as well, and just see what difference it makes in terms of transmit power necessary. And you've got to keep in mind the guys in the USA and also in England, that's the sort of stuff they're using. On Q0100, I think it's even less. So yeah, worth a try, I think. Something a little bit different. So we'll set the bandwidth at 2 megahertz. I think we've got options down to 1 with the Hydes, but I'm pretty sure you can get 2. And Rob, if you're watching, did have a look at the SR systems, and it also goes down to 1 meg actually. Mine does at least. So perhaps yours does as well. I know there's different firmware in different sets, but Rob 3IE and myself are lucky enough to have a SR Systems DVB-T and DVB-S modulated both, and I did take it down to 2 megs. It seemed to be okay, but I didn't have the Hydes available to have a look and see if it was actually working, but it didn't object, and the spectrum was there. Everything looked okay, so I think that should be good. So it's just something for the near future, and maybe to garner a bit more interest, and also help Mick and perhaps some other people to get in, like Simon is another one who might benefit from 2 megs, although from Tooradin he probably won't be able to get into 1254, but you never know. Let's see what advantage that provides in terms of a channel power increase. All right, well that's it I think for me. I'm looking at my cheat sheet. Yep, I think we've covered everything. So yes, I've got a programmer here that works off Bascom AVR, which is a thing that I've been using for quite some time in BASIC. But I need a link to something that will do the AT Tiny and use that AVR ISP. So it's some other bit of software I need. Anyway, Stephen, you might have something to say about it, and I could, of course, send the Tinies back to you, but it's just a matter of interest for me to perhaps see if I can get the AVR ISP going. I've given the Arduinos away; they're packed away. All right, over to you. VK3TTF is the next in line. This is VK3BFG 1 Turner South. Over to you. Cheers all.
Hello, that took a little while to come up. I'm not sure what happened there, but I'm on, which is good. Yeah, Peter, so programming at Tinies. What I can show you, let me just move my next item out of the way, because I just grabbed this. I'll just change over to my not so shaky cam. There we go. So I've actually got one of these for programming. It's a proper like EPROM programmer, so it does every bits and pieces. I don't think you can get this model anymore. I've had this for quite a while. It's been discontinued. But the old TL866, there's a new model. They're about $50, and this will program probably your picks and everything. You can just chuck the chip in there, and the hex code you just upload to it. What I'm thinking is maybe in the next couple of weeks. I think I can come on next week. I'll see. I can actually bring up the Arduino software and do a compilation that makes the hex file and actually program one on this on the net. That's probably a good thing. I have tried those little Arduino boards where you effectively use an Arduino to program an Arduino, and yeah, I haven't had much luck with them. So definitely I prefer the proper programmer. It makes it much easier. But we can have a look. I do think I've got one somewhere. I may still have this shield to put on top of a normal Arduino that we could potentially use. I'm just looking at my boxes up top to see if maybe, yeah, I've got something up there that we could use. So cool. Anyway, I'm Stephen from Keysborough. I think, what's today? Mid-March, early March. Almost 1 year since my first VK3RTV transmission now. So getting up there, part of the furniture now really. So today I had a couple of other things I just wanted to cover off. So some of the discussion on Discord recently a new member actually wanted to purchase a set-top box to tune into VK3RTV to watch it, and it looks like the V7 Pro boxes are getting very hard to find. I actually couldn't find a seller on AliExpress anymore for those. So I actually went looking for another set-top box, and I've actually found one. It arrived and it works. I'm just going to move some stuff out of the way here and bring it in, and I'll change over if that stops. If I can get this back to come online. My shaky cam keeps going offline. Let's see if I can bring it back. 1 second. Just talk amongst yourselves for a minute. It's all good. Won't take long. All right. Okay. I think we're back. All right. I can flick over to that. All right. So yes, this little set-top box. I'll move that out of the way for a second. So it came in this little box from Ubisheng. Haven't actually heard of them before. It was a new one. So it's little DVB-T only. So you can't use it if you want to use it as a monitoring for S. It does support H.265, which is interesting. I don't have anything to try that with just yet, but that's interesting. Yeah, all the normal sort of stuff, DVB-T only, nothing fancy there. Box comes with a little manual and your HDMI cable, and I think when you order it, it comes with a European USB power supply. I just got rid of that. It just comes with a USB A plug, so you can use any USB power supply for it. But this is the size of it. So on my hand, that's how big it is. So super duper tiny. That's the remote that goes with it. So yeah, the remote is, you know, double the size of what the actual receiver is. So normal on the back, RF, it's got AV out, HDMI, and little DC barrel jack for power. I have actually opened it up, and there is nothing inside to get a signal light on it. So unless there's a firmware change we can get them to do, this is just a simple receive only one. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to plug it in, because it's got an interesting feature on it. Let's get that booting up. So there we are, that's all plugged in. Let that boot up. Will it stay? Stay. No, it's not going to stay. I will just change over. I've got that here. Cool. Okay, I'm just going to cut over to RTV2 since I'm on RTV1. So this is now the feed for RTV2 showing on through this set-top box. And if I just go info, so if you push information on the remote once, you get this display which gives you your frequency and DVB-T, and you can see that that times out after a few seconds. I think it's 10 seconds or 8 seconds or something like that. But when it's up, if you push information again quickly, you get a full BER with your modulation parameters and everything showing up. And you can see, hopefully you can see that, it's updating pretty quickly. So if you were trying to use this to tune your antenna location and things like that, trying to receive RTV, that could be really good because it's a nice quick quality and strength update on this screen. And this does not time out. I've left this open for like an hour and it stays on the screen permanently. So that's a good little feature if you're trying to receive VK3RTV. Yeah, quite happy with that one. And it's only, I'll bring up the page off AliExpress. Yeah, it's at the moment you can get one for $30 delivered. So very, very cheap just to get yourself online. If I flick back over to the I'm going to call it the steady cam because it's not too bad. The main thing is on the ad it doesn't say, but here it actually is a model of EU012. It's actually called a U12 if you Google search it or whatever. But yeah, that's the one to look for. That definitely works to receive VK3RTV. And it's so tiny and just needs the 5-volt power supply. So for anyone getting on board, wants to receive RTV that hasn't already, $30 for a receiver that works. Really good deal. I will put that link in Discord as well, so you can go and find that one. So, but yeah, I thought a new set-top box that can be used, that's nice and cheap to get people watching, that's a good little deal. So That's my first little topic. I think I covered everything. Yes, this manufacturer, this Yubisheng, don't make any DVB-S that I found so far. So, because I was going to ask them, going, hey, do you have any DVB-S or dual ones or anything like that? But they only do DVB-T, DVB-C by the look of it. But I do want to send them a bit of a message just to see if they can do maybe a custom firmware. There is a red-green LED inside, so if they could program the red LED or something to be a signal light, that could be good. But yeah, otherwise it's literally just a basic receive one for anyone. So my next little one I wanted to do was, this has been going quite well, is on Discord again. We've actually got a buy-sell group now. So if anyone's interested in buying or selling bits and pieces, they've got excess of things. We've got this group, so I've actually sold a couple of things already on here. I've got an Atom Mini listed, some SAW filters, and we've got VK3RTV here looking for an FM satellite receiver. So if anyone has one of those lying around, reach out. I can see he's watching at the moment, so there's a call out. Everyone hopefully in Melbourne now has seen your plea to find one of those. But yeah, please, if there's anything excess, wanted, whatever, chuck it up here. It's a good way just if you're trying to find things or get online. I know VK3TUB is just waiting for some bits and pieces to come in. I think you've received your set-top box. I'll actually bring this one up. So this is, if you're looking for a GT Media box still, this is the V7TT. I've got a few of these. It's very similar to the V7 Pro, doesn't have the DVB-S component. And the screen is all on one board. So Peter, where we have that separate board that we're not using for the LED display on the front, this is actually all built onto the one board. So you can still like solder onto it and get those signals out. They're the same signals, but it's just all on one board, and it's a lot smaller box, DVB-T only. And that's perfectly okay just for receiving VK3RTV as well. And yeah, unfortunately, I only found that one VK3TUB. I only found that after you were saying we couldn't find the V7 Pro. That's when I ordered it. So I probably ordered it around the same date as when you ordered the V7 TT. And I've only just been testing that the last few days just to see how it's going. So, but that's an option. But yes, please have a look. Buy, sell, swap. Anything ATV related or even amateur radio related for our group. Have a look at that channel on there, and obviously all the other channels. We're posting lots of bits and pieces. I can see Ian was putting a reminder in for tonight on there too. One thing I'd like to do is try and set up some automated reminders as well for Tuesdays, just for everyone to help out, and any other information we can chuck up there as well. But yes, it's been really good. We've been having people reach out. You can see there's lots of chat going on with different things going on. I even posted this one. I wasn't going to put it up on the net, but radio over fiber was actually really interesting to see how they do wideband RF and transfer it optically. That's a really interesting watch there too. So that's that bit. Actually, I've got one other little thing, but I'm handing it over to VK3RTV. So there's probably just like a 60-second, 2-minute warning sort of thing for you. I've got one other thing I'm actually going to show on my Steadicam. I picked these up this week. Little heat sinks. So that's the normal, the 15 watt, 1.2 gig amplifiers we've been using. So that's sort of the size of that. And these heat sinks, they're normally CPU heat sinks, but they've got a really dense fin pattern, so they should dissipate a lot of heat. And I think they'll fit a 60mm fan, so it can make for a quite compact little rig. And I've got a few of those. I'll be listing those on the buy sell soon. I haven't worked out how to properly attach it yet. It does have a sticky pad, which is how it's holding on right now. But it needs probably something just to make sure it doesn't move around too much, because it does wiggle a little bit, and I'd be worried that would fall off if you're trying to particularly hang it that way or something like that. But I'm thinking just even a bit of wire looping it around where these screws are. It's just a hole straight through. So you could just wrap some wire through it just to hold it on, or a little bracket. I was thinking of 3D printing it. It probably won't get too hot to melt the plastic, so probably a 3D printed little bracket or something could work for that as well. But I've actually come across some of these for cheap. So that looks like a nice compact way. You could put that in a little tiny box with a fan quite easily. So watch this space on the Buy Sell Swap Discord channel for those ones. Anyway, that's me for tonight. So VK3ATV, if you want to start transmitting, I'll hand it over to you in a second. But that's me for tonight. And yes, Peter, I will try and work out something and do a bit of a show and tell on programming at Tiny's on a net coming up as well. So you can have a look, and anyone else interested in those can find out a bit more about how to program them. But I will be using that programmer, this one. That just makes it so much easier. But there's a lot of other programmers like that you can just grab a hex file and just dump it down. The other thing I think, Peter, you've probably seen in that blog is there's fuses, and they're not and you've got to blow them. So you've actually got to destroy the fuse. But they're not fuses as in bad things that'll break things. They're actually to set configuration parameters like frequency and everything like that of that chip as well. So you've got to make sure you program them correctly. Otherwise it'll run too slow, or it'll look for an external oscillator, and we want to use just the internal oscillator. So things like that as well. There's just a couple of things to look out for. So all good. Awesome. I will hand it over to John, VK3ATV. Change over to RTV2 now. Thank you all.
Thanks, Stephen. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. John, VK3RTV in Williamstown. There hasn't been a lot of ATV activity in the shack. You can tell by I haven't even got the camera level. But I have been doing quite a few other things, so I'll go through that. It'll be interesting, amateur radio stuff. I bought a few second-hand radios recently, thinking that I'll fix them up. But unfortunately, I've got about 2 cupboards full of radios that are in the same in the same condition. So I really should stop buying that old gear. It'll just be an easy fix, because generally it isn't. So I'll go on to, take my camera off the tripod shortly. Well, I might be able to leave it on the tripod and swing the camera around. I got 2 Kenwood TS520Ss. One is virtually dead. The lights come on and that's about it. But that one was for parts. The other one I've managed to clean up and get the receiver working. So the receiver works quite well, but I haven't got transmit. So I've got plenty of spare parts on the other one to have a play with, and I've just found the service manual. So I'll have a look at that. So I'll give you a look at these radios. So that's the one I got for parts. It's actually complete, but not working. Probably a power supply issue, at least. But that was a complete radio. I've taken the finals out of it to try this other one. So I'll move the camera over a little bit. And that's the one I'm working on at the moment. So in quite good condition. The front panel is very good, complete. So that's an important thing. But yeah, I just haven't got any transmit out of that yet. So I had to look around for a microphone as well. I'll just turn down the audio a little bit. Looks like it's a little bit loud. Hopefully that's a bit better. So that's a ongoing project. I really need to decide whether it's worth my while to be working on this stuff or working on something ATV. I don't like to give up, but if I don't get this going in the next few hours of effort, I'll probably just sell the two parts to a Kenwood Fanatic. So the other radio I got recently was an IC25A, which is an older ICOM 2 metre box. That works quite well. The only problem with that was, or is, like a lot of older VHF, UHF radios, they don't have CTCSS, so you can't get into a lot of repeaters, and they usually don't have a memory backup. So when you turn it off, turn it back on again, they default to a default channel or a default frequency. So I do actually have some CTCSS boards that I can put in the microphone circuit. So I'll probably do that to a couple of those, and they do often have the later ones have a memory backup input. So you can actually run an external battery or an internal battery if you can fit it, and keep the memory held up. Another radio I purchased, I'll just pan up, is that IC21A. I'm a bit of an ICOM collector, which is not such a great idea, but anyway, I love ICOMs. So that one's just 2 meters FM, crystal locked. It's pretty much full of crystals. It's got about 18 of the channels have got crystals in them. Whether they're actually whether they're actually any good for modern repeaters, I don't know. But again, that doesn't have CTCSS. So that I'll need to put something in the microphone circuit for that. Another radio I bought recently, again an ICOM, is the IC551, which is 6 metre radio. And that actually works. It's a bit down on output power, but I was told that it had been throttled back for use on a transverter or a linear, so it might just be a matter of going in and tweaking the transmit PA back up again. But otherwise, that one works quite well, and that matches my other collection of the 451, the 211, and the IC701. So that's what I've been doing, playing with those radios. I'll go back to shaky cam again. So the other thing I haven't been working on is my ATV transmitter, the high des. So as you can see, I'm still running an external PA on that. I haven't fixed the Burt Modern PA yet, but I will get around to that eventually. I've purchased a wireless microphone, so I can imagine it's probably a little bit noisy. There's probably a bit of background noise with the microphone I'm using on the camera at the moment. So hopefully I'll improve that with a closer microphone. What else have I been doing? We had the Amateur Radio Victoria Council meeting last week, and that's all going along quite well. and Peter's been doing a great job on the ARV Council for many years. I'm only a fairly newcomer to it, but it's certainly providing a lot for a small organisation. Ballarat Swap Meet. I went to that. I think we might have talked about that last week, so I won't say much about that. But there was a bit there, and that's where I got the IC 551. The other thing that I did show probably a couple of years ago now, actually, is an IC 7000 that I was replacing all the capacitors on. I think I indicated that I got the display board completed and then shorted it out on something. So I've been a bit slack. I haven't really wanted to go back to that one. So that's still sitting on the bench to do. I think I'm probably overcommitted with a number of repair jobs I'm doing all at once. Peter Cozzens, your suggestion of getting people back onto RTV, there was discussion about having a remote receiver somewhere that's got some network connectivity so that people don't have to transmit all the way to Glen Waverley. They could transmit to somewhere else closer. It's certainly a lot easier to get permission to put a receiver in a site somewhere than it is to put a transmitter in. So perhaps we should consider that for some of these people that want to get back on air. And Stephen looks like a good little receiver. I think I'll grab one of those. That might be a good one to put in a portable kit, nice and compact. And having those extra indicators like bit error rate, it would be actually be quite handy, even in the shack. And I must get back onto Discord. I've got to admit I was on there for a little while and didn't really ever work out how to use it properly and left it, but I must get back onto it. It looks like you've got quite a bit of activity on there now, which is great. It's always good to have these connections to ATV group. That's about it from me. I think I'm not sure. I think I'm giving it back to Ian, VK3QL. So how are we going for time? We've still got a fair bit of time. Anyway, as I said, I've been fairly busy, overcommitted to too many repair jobs, but I will get back to at least repairing the ATV transmitter, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. That's it from me. So thanks everyone for watching. I didn't actually put the hat on, seeing as how Neil's not here. Somebody's got to wear the cap. So thanks everyone for watching, and I'll pass you back to Ian, VK3QL, as a net controller. I'm on DVB-T, Ian. I think you might be on DVB-S, so there might be a little bit of a changeover delay. Anyway, thanks everyone. Goodbye from John, VK3RTV.
Great. Thank you, John, for that. That was not too bad for going from T to S. So, and amazingly, I've got audio, which yes, you should test and test again, and I did all that, and of course I changed something just prior to going to air, so that's always the way. Once left idle hands make a disaster. Anyway, thank you guys. Peter and Stephen did a fantastic job, and so did John, carrying on without me, as they usually do. And so I'm just was really going to wrap up. Yeah, I'm just checking who's on. I'm having trouble. I must admit, I don't follow how Discord works, so I don't know how I get a list of people, but I'm sure I'll get the hang of it. But certainly what's available for purchase is a great resource for the group and for any others who want to get into ATV. So Stephen, thanks for promoting that and driving that. That's been great. And of course, the pioneer of that for the group was Richard, VK3RTV, who's watching, as is Mick, no doubt working away on his station, and Neil's watching, BCU, VK3BCU, and Mark, VK3PI. We have watching on YouTube, Vince and David, VK2DJV. Not quite sure who that is, and Stephen, of course, is there. Oh, yeah, so the conversation going on that's on YouTube. All right, what I wanted to do is do a bit of a promo of Dubus. I saw on VK Classifieds, I'll remember his name in about 2 hours, our local representative put an ad up, and the current price for the next 12 months is Alan Devlin. Thanks, Mick. Does a fantastic job promoting Dubus and coordinating the group purchase from Australia, and the current price for the next 12 months is $58, but you better get in quick. From memory, it was late February was the cut-off date. But here is a promo of what Dubus is all about.
Dubus Magazine is an international amateur radio magazine, intended for the VHF and above operator. Published in Germany by not-for-profit editors, it is bilingual. There are 4 issues a year, each of over 100 A5 pages, which are devoted to a mix of state-of-the-art technical articles and DX operating news. Dubus subscriptions are approximately $50 a year for 4 editions, air-mailed to your door, organised via our very own honorary VK Dubus representative, Alan Devlin VK3XPD, details on the www.dubus.org webpage.
Right, something came up the other day, HF on the HF news front, although it is digital, is free DV or digital voice 2.1 is available now. David Rowe has been producing the codecs and the software for that product, that software. It's free, and his call sign is VK5DGR, and there's been a lot of improvements made over the years on that product. So if you're like me and tried it some years ago and then got distracted by other things, it might be worth trying to come back into the fold, as it were, with free DV 2.0. It's a great way of using the HF bands. There's a lot of the ATVers in the UK are currently experimenting on 5 meg, getting very good results in rather noisy urban environments as far as HF goes, and getting very good results. So something to think about. And Stephen mentioning shaky cam, and I think Peter too had mentioned it last week. I had someone actually ask me a couple of months ago, what model are we using for shaky cam? Everyone's talking about shaky cam, but what model, and where can you get it? They had searched for a shaky cam to purchase it, and so just for those who are not familiar, shaky cam is a term rather than a product, and it refers to any handheld camera that you might use to show things in the shack or demonstrations or of the like. So it's not a product, it's actually a term we use, many people use, and there's other terms that are similar. Shaky cam, wander cam, dodgy cam. So anyway, I thought Stephen mentioning that earlier this evening, I thought I'd just mention that experience with someone looking to buy a shaky cam. All right, let's see what else we've got on the. What I wish I will cover is something I missed last week on the calendar of events. So the calendar of events didn't have the Train and Hobby show from the 14th and 15th of March, Sandown Race Course. This covers trains and all sorts of hobbies, including radio and ATV. Displays. So yeah, that's something to think about for March. And of course, at the end of March is the Eastern Mountain District Radio Club car boot sale. The entrance fee is a very reasonable, no charge from memory, and also I'm not sure if there's a charge for getting a slot in on a table, or I've forgotten the details, but they will be coming out soon. So that's always a good event. I've been able to go to that for the last couple of years, and had lots of fun. And while we're talking about EMDRC, Peter, as you mentioned, did the Smith chart talk last Friday. The first Friday of the month, they actually live stream, they live stream to YouTube and also on RTV their talk meeting, and it's very, very interesting. It's something to keep an eye on, and I must remember to actually promote that, because it does come up on our ATV repeater, and it's one of the one of the interesting things that come along on, which I haven't been mentioning in the past. All right, what else was I going to do? I might as well come back to me, unfortunately for you guys. And I'm in the analogue library, so books and paper is the norm. So a break from it's the digital world, and reminds us that we live in an analogue world, although I'm sure people will want to argue the point with me on that one. Right, so now I shall... I'm a bit thrown today, aren't I? All right, I might close up. Thanks. Are there any other check-ins? Very last minute. Anyway, I might close the net. We're about an hour in, so I think that's a good show, and there was lots of interesting stuff. John, the Kenwood stuff and the ICOM stuff, yes, brings back memories, those old models. And yes, before tone access on repeaters came along, that was pretty necessitated by some of the low power devices that are interfering on our frequencies. Anyway, won't dwell on that. All right, I might pull the pin, and thank you for watching, and catch you next week. This is VK3 Quebec Lima for the RTV Net.